Oi you, it's time for another episode of Dorothy and the Dealer. Let's tune into the conversation.
Life Beginner ads for Channel 9.
No.
I don't remember them either. I remember them. No, I do. But they had...
Why did you say that?
Oh, because you were talking about ads.
Okay. Yeah, but
Anyway.
you don't remember it.
I do remember it, but I can't remember the tune that it went. I can't remember the tunes of them. But which one? Why were you talking about ads then? Or you just want to talk? You want to get a jingle in people's minds today.
Yeah, But yeah, you have a jingle. What was the jingle? The visual ad I remember the most when I came to Australia, because like ads in Australia were very not very advanced. Do you know what I mean? They just weren't.
Yeah.
Quiet. They just weren't very advanced. Where European ads, like we had shitloads of TV channels. When I came out here, we only had 3.
Yeah.
And so they didn't put it, their ads weren't super, But I remember, so like you had ads like, come into WA Salvage and save the money, Luigi, come into WA Salvage and save the money. And then there was Popo Chinese restaurant. Was it Popo? No, Mr. Foos, come in, all you can eat at Mr. Foos. And you'd go in and it would just be an array of food that you could just eat as much as you wanted. But, obviously they create ads with jingles because the jingle sticks in your head.
So
and
you want to get a jingle stuck in
So
your
what was the one that stuck in your head, like, as a kid?
No, but nothing.
I mean, there was the Vegemite one. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're happy little Vegemite.
You wanted me to sing it. I know you just paused me. But we were just reminded that the aeroplane jelly ad.
I like aeroplane jelly.
But do you know what's funny?
Jelly for me.
Do you know what's funny is I know this is it's not a song, but I realised that I had started to age when I
Yeah. No, don't do that. No, don't do that. No, don't do that. I'm freezing.
You can hear it through the podcast, so they need it off.
You're gonna kill me. Oh, fuck. Oh, God.
Anyway.
So,
do you know when I realised I was old or was getting old? When I said to somebody, when a group of people around, I said, not happy Jan, to somebody. Mm-hmm. And then I realised that my niece was there and I said, do you know what that means, the not happy Jan? She goes, no, I just thought it was a saying. And she was too young to remember the Yellow Pages ad.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, but that was only in 2005.
And she's 22.
Jesus, but that wasn't that ad only in 2005?
I don't know, but she's 22.
When was that ad?
I don't know.
Not that long ago.
I know, but my point was
that she's 22.
She's 22 and she didn't know why people said not happy Jan. Mm-hmm. She didn't realise where it came from. She just thought it was a saying. So 2000
was when it came out.
There you go.
Okay, so
she was born in 1999. So
who did the best ads? Who did the best ads as a kid?
I don't know.
Cadbury, hands down.
Yeah, a glass and a half of dairy milk chocolate.
The
Phil Collins one. Yeah,
that was a great ad. And then, but also, there was another good ad. Was the Kit Kat ad? Remember? Yeah.
No.
The guy'd be standing there with his camera waiting for the bear to come out. What bear is it? The panda bear to come out. And then he'd go, I'll just have a break. And he'd turn around and away from the camera. And then the panda would come out and do ice skating around and then go straight back into it. Yeah.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah. Anyway, why are we talking about ads? What are we talking about today?
Do you know Australia? Like when I came, I'm back in Australia a bit, but we really had bad chocolate when I came out here. Like really bad chocolate. In Ireland, the chocolate was just like insane. He used to have these things called penguin bars.
Yeah.
I pick it a penguin. A lovely big penguin. If you want to pick it a penguin. Anyway, but they were just amazing. And then Cadbury snack bars. Yeah. Oh my God. And they 3 different types of snack bars. They had these.
You love your chocolate.
Oh, I love chocolate. But it was just so good. The chocolate tasted so different here, but it was just so good back then. It was just great.
You haven't tasted single origin chocolate. You're going to taste that.
Single orange.
Yeah, where they actually make it the chocolate from beans from a particular, like they make coffee and wine from beans from a particular part of the world. They make chocolate with cocoa beans from different part, and the chocolate tastes different.
Really?
So good. Yeah, so good.
Do you remember
Yeah.
in Mexico we went to that chocolate place?
I know. I was actually going to tell Lexi that story the other night.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I didn't.
Yeah.
And how you handed out chocolate to everyone, like the raw
In
cacao.
a seminar, yeah. It was before people knew what raw cacao tasted like. Now everybody knows.
And and everyone was like,
And I said, okay,
that's
everybody
so
take a
gross."
spoonful. So I gave them all a spoonful. So then when I say go, you just pop this a spoonful of chocolate. You just pop it in your mouth and eat it. And people are ready, steady, go. People put it in their mouth. They'd be like, oh my God. They'd be spitting it out and be puff clouds of fucking cacao everywhere. But I have to remember the guy did it to us in Mexico. And then he said, okay. And he grabbed a shovel of sugar, literally a shovel full of sugar. And he threw it into the cacao and mixed it up and then handed it to us and said, okay, now taste this.
Yeah.
And you really got to see the influence that sugar has over
100%.
cacao is insane.
Yeah.
Okay, what are we talking about today? We're talking about
you were talking about getting old. I think you wanted to talk about getting old because,
Yeah.
you're getting old. You're always going to be a year older than me, mate.
yeah.
A year, well, actually 11 months, but
11 months,
let's
yeah.
not
Wow,
let's not worry
okay.
about that.
But I mean, the thing is,
People think I look younger, so there's that. And I actually do look a lot younger than you. I'm just saying.
you know, the funny, shut the fuck up. You know, the funny thing is, right? If you think, like, my father talks quite a bit about mortality now.
Yeah.
My neighbour used to talk to me a lot about mortality.
Did they? Which neighbour?
My neighbour just over the fence. I won't say
Next
his name.
door?
Yeah,
Like
just over the
who
fence.
just moved away from
Yeah,
you? Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
He used to talk a lot about mortality, and like he'd be like depressed, and I'd be like, dude, what the fuck? And he'd be like, man, all my mates have stopped working. Most of them are dying. Da 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 da. And he's like, I just want to keep working. I just want to keep going. And I think that I'm like, that's really really important. I think everybody should stay focused on their vision and what they're here to do.
100%.
Otherwise, you're going to be at the mercy of your mortality. I think that that's important. But then you've got to be able to back that up with exercise and doing things that are important. Because, you know, as you get older, if you're not lifting weights and you're not exercising and moving, your bone density decreases and you become more brittle. But even in your brain, if you're not educating yourself, your brain actually prunes itself like it does a tree. But as you educate yourself, your brain actually grows. It continues to grow and bloom and blossom. And that's what you want to make sure you're doing. You know, you got to make sure that you're reading, educating yourself, pushing yourself.
I think that was really well illustrated. I think it was at the end of What the Bleep Do We Know? And how she had that epiphany and then she got lighter, her face got lighter and younger and looked better and different, remember?
Yep.
And that's what happens when we're holding on, we're using all of our energy to hold on to our stuff, then we look older, we feel alive and more vibrant the more work that we do, especially in terms of what we do. That's why after relationships and a lot of people look younger. Yeah. Because all the energy that they've used to hold on to that stuff, that energy doesn't need to be used to hold on to that anymore. You know?
Like I've seen, just quickly, I've seen some amazing physical transformations
100%.
in relationships in Europe. Like people literally you look at them, and we'll look at the room and say, okay, guys, look around the room, look at everybody's faces. And it's like, people truly, truly look younger.
Yeah.
They look as if they've gained time.
Yeah. But that's something to do with the...
That's a glial cell thing, and it's a pruning.
The telomeres. The telomeres, whether they're lengthened or shortened based on your perceptions.
And they govern your mortality.
Yeah, and they govern the age thing. That's why people look older or younger, and that's dependent. I can't remember which one's which, whether it's shorter or longer, but the telomeres are deciding how you look and how you age.
It's actually a cool little piece of research if people want to look that stuff up.
So, I think. Do you feel like you have a
Well, I got
you're
young
talking
kids.
but you've got your parents, for example, who you're saying your dad's talking a lot about mortality at the moment.
Yeah.
But they're very big. They've always been quite big on not just
Stopping.
sharing their age.
Oh,
they
yeah.
They have been quite they're very particular about not sharing their age, which is why when you talk about them, you say that they're 900 years. You take the piss instead of really giving it away too much.
Well, my old man has always been like, it's nobody's business, Mitch.
Yeah.
It's just nobody's business.
But I think that they've been attached to the fact that they don't want to be old, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that had an influence on you in terms of, or do you think that's having? Do you think that?
Well,
has
I
an influence
definitely
on
look. I'm 49 years old now.
You? Not yet.
Next year.
This year you turn 49.
49 this year. And
do you know how I
see,
know?
but that shows fucking Alzheimer's,
Well,
doesn't it? I can't even remember my fucking age.
I've been telling people I'm
How
48.
old am I?
I've been telling people I'm 48 and I'm not 48 yet. So,
Really?
Yes.
See, we
I
both
do that
have
all the
Alzheimer's.
time. No, you do. I'm blaming you. Do you know how I know? Because Ange turned 50 this year. That means you turn 50 next year, and then I turn 50 the year after.
Yeah, and I think like
That's how I know
Tash
my
just
age.
showed me a what the fucking fuck product.
Yeah.
You know, that my old man is taking now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, this is a what the fucking fuck product. You know, you pay $114 and get 24 doses of it, and it's meant to help you so that it prevents Alzheimer's. Like, I'd like to see the science behind that. But you know, as you get older, you're susceptible to be getting sold these quick fixes. And do you know my brother-in-law died the other day, right? Yeah, my brother-in-law
Right. I did
died.
not know that.
Yeah,
In Ireland.
In Ireland, yeah. And
When you say brother-in-law, I don't understand.
and then 2 days later,
Brother-in-law.
Ange's brother.
Ange's brother. Got it.
2 days.
That was a couple of months back. That's okay.
Well, the other day.
It was like January.
Was it January?
It was January.
That is Alzheimer's.
That's
So, but-
totally. I was going to say a couple of weeks does not match.
No,
Go.
No. Do you see
Go,
me
carry
going
on.
white and pale here? It's because I'm thinking, fuck. But we got an email from a company trying to scam Ange, saying, "Oh, look, he actually had a winning of a lottery ticket in the US of $10 million. Please, we're aware that he's dead. Thank you for, or we want to send their condolences, but can you send us your bank details and license?" And where do these people? They've no scruples. They're just absolutely. Yesterday, she said to me, "Look at this email. My God, he's only not even cold in the grave, and they're trying to rob you." But that sort of stuff's terrible. But I think as you get older, you're susceptible to these suggestions of wonder powders and wonder creams and fucking.
That's not. I don't agree with that. I agree with it, but I also don't, because at the end of the day, you're susceptible every step along the way. You're susceptible to your perceptions around yourself and around your mortality, around what you look like, around where you know what I mean? Like that happens.
Do you know what I mean?
That's been all the time. But yes, you're probably noticing it now more because you've got your parents that are.
Oh.
Did you think I was going to say you because you're aging? But you've got your parents who are like, you know, who you say are talking more about it.
Yeah.
So how do you think that affects you? You didn't answer my question.
Well, I think that it's, you know, it's become inevitable. Like there's a clock ticking, you know.
Do you feel that for yourself?
Well, I think the mortal side of us all feels that, you know. And as you get older, you
Just
question that
answer
stuff.
for you.
Yeah, I'm telling you. But of course, you start to think about it. You start like you're fucking hurtling down a mountain on your mountain bike, and you got 3 kids at home, and you think, Jesus, I better be careful here. You know, where beforehand I wouldn't give a flying. Like you want to see some of the stuff that Ollie does, and he's 5. I'm like, Jesus Christ, kid, you're gonna.
Do you think that's because you've got kids, or do you think that's just because
It's all of it.
All of it.
It's all of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and your body, you got it. Like, if I peak my body in terms of its health, right, and I'm super fit, right. So I'll go through stages of being super fit, and then I just stop.
Really?
Yeah. Then I just, well, in my mind, my level of super fit. Then I'll just stop, and then the amount of time it drops, and the amount of catching up I have to do again is big.
Yeah,
and when I'm exercising really hard, if I'm not taking supplements, I get very achy. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and you notice that definitely differently now.
Definitely. It's
and
like
also,
shit.
And you also notice your age a little bit more now when you have, you know, you have a few drinks. When like for me, this is me personally.
Yeah.
Because I drink alcohol every now and then, right? But then every now and then I'll just like probably. I don't know when the last time was, but like say for example, Ange's party, have quite a few.
How
to
much
drink,
alcohol
right?
did you drink there?
Enough.
Weren't you doing some of those things?
I was doing George's snorkels. Yes, I was.
Weren't you doing snorkels?
I was doing
For
snorkels.
people who don't know what snorkels are, can you just tell them?
All the young ones.
Can you just tell people who?
Well, you just basically
What's a
scull
snorkel?
You scull a
what?
a cruiser.
A cruiser, right? How
And
many
they're
did you do?
shit.
How many did you do?
I don't know.
No, how many?
Well, I probably did. I don't know, but they were terrible. I was literally really,
don't
really
wanna answer
sick
that
after.
question, do you?
No, I can't remember how many I did
Why can't you remember?
because
You were fucked
no,
up.
it wasn't because
Yeah.
I had the first one, which was a zero sugar one, which was easier to
You tried to
swallow.
kiss me at that
Then
event. You
I
tried.
did not. Don't give people the wrong impression. So, and I think maybe I did 3, but it was really bad. But anyway, the point is that
And, yeah.
you realise the next day.
Can you tell
that
everybody what
before-
you turn
Oh
up with
my
at those
God.
parties? Just tell everybody what you turn up with. Just tell everybody.
I turn up with all the shooters because I'm the shooter queen. So I bring a bag full of
No,
Baileys.
not one bag.
Baileys.
No, not one bag.
Kahlua,
Yeah.
Contro, butterscotch snaps,
Yeah.
anything to
How many
make
bags?
at least 2 bags of alcohol. And then someone provides the shooter glasses
Yeah.
and then I just make all the
Yeah.
shooters and
Get
everyone
every-
goes, oh, what are we cheersing to? And then we cheers
Who
to something. And who
cares?
cares? We just anyway, but you notice your age after things like that because you used to be able to recover a lot quicker and now that doesn't happen.
Yeah. But my recovery
me-
rate from anything, from a ride is
Everything
Yeah,
is,
but
is
if
a little
it,
different.
but there's certain things you can do. If you're really fucking hydrated, you'll be okay. If you're hydrating during, you'll be okay. If you hydrate afterwards, you'll be okay. So hydration is super important.
I've realised even just more recently how super important that is. And I think it was when I started 75 Hard because I was drinking then a gallon of water a day, which is 4 litres a day. And I was doing that religiously up until about maybe 2 weeks ago. And then for some reason it kind of dropped off. I think it was because it's cold. And I realised that when I'm not drinking as much water, I'm not as
functioning
definitely
as well.
not as functioning and stuff like that. So I've really noticed the progress over the last, probably the last year where you really realise how much certain things affect you. For me, sleep is a massive thing, you know, and being able to sleep properly makes a massive difference to my life, my health, how I feel, how I function. But yeah, I feel like the whole aging thing, I don't notice it as much for me, other than every now and then I kind of have this realization that I'm that age, that I'm 47. Well, not as old as you, 47, and I didn't realize that. Like, I don't feel 47. Does that make sense? I was like when I was told that I might need multifocals. I went to the optometrist and they said you'd need multifocals, and I went.
Except when you went in there, you were actually in the dentist.
No. And I went, no, I'm not. I don't need no. I'm fine, right?
Yeah.
I refused because I was like, no, I don't need it. I was I was maybe
Where's
40,
your
41
mom?
or something like that.
Where's
and
your
then
mom?
next minute, like I refused my multifocals, and then next minute, like probably about 6 months later, I had glasses on, I couldn't see far and I couldn't see close, I couldn't see, and then I was like, I have to go back and get these multifocals so that I can see far away and close up, you know.
But that's just laziness of your eyes as well, isn't it? I mean, there's some great eye exercises you can do out there.
I don't know,
that
but
really
you still
toughen
need
strength.
reading glasses, don't you?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the same thing.
I only really wear them for fashion purposes because
You too, they're not even fashionable.
They're blank.
So then in terms of
zeros.
So, in terms of you and your kids and your mortality and your age with that, what does that? How does
Back
that?
off.
Well, this is what we're talking about. What does it? Well, I don't even know what we're talking about. It feels like we're going around in circles. But what do you think in terms of that? Does it affect you thinking that you may not be around?
That as we get
or that-
older, we forget that we're going to become more incapacitated. That was
Yes.
one of the things that over the past 3 years I've really learned. As you get older, you're going to become more incapacitated. Life is not going to get any easier. It actually gets way more difficult.
Yeah.
And so, but you don't think that. You think that's never going to happen to you.
Yeah.
And then you have to stay agile. You have to stay fit. You have to move. You have to do things that keep your body in good shape. And if you don't, you're going to pay the price. And so that, I think for me, and you know what made it really, like, I speak about this book all the time, but Body for Life by Bill Phillips was such a great book because nowadays, exercise is so fucking complicated, and with social media, people are comparing themselves all the time. Fit doesn't mean that you have to be a size 10 or a size 8. Fit means you're able to keep your heart rate up, you're able to move properly, you eat properly, you drink lots of water, you take care of yourself. You also spoil yourself when it's time to spoil yourself, but that you're keeping your muscle groups moving, because if you don't, you're going to pay the price.
I still do the cardio with the Body for Life. That's how I run. I do the interval cardio, the 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's great.
And I think that's good. I don't do it with the weights, though. I don't do the interval stuff with the weights anymore.
Well, there's not interval stuff with the weights.
It is, because you start with a certain weight,
yeah,
then
you're
you
right.
go up,
Sorry.
up,
Yeah,
up,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
down again.
Yeah.
But
I loved that.
I did that for a while, but I just do things a little differently with the weight stuff now. But what do you feel you need to do to stay on top of the game for you in terms of as you get older?
I have to be exercising at least 4 times a week, and on the weekend I have to get out. Now, one of the things I learned in terms of bike riding, right? And I learned this from a cardiologist, was that we think that when we come home, you know, we've had a stressful day and we come home, we go out and we think, oh, so here's how I was doing it. I go out and I go for a ride. Actually, you know who told me this was my brother.
Your brother, not
It wasn't, yeah. He said, I would go out for a ride and I think, okay, a ride is going to allow me to wind down and allow me to just chill out and relax. And mentally it does, but physically it stresses your body even further. Does that make sense? So if you're coming from a super stressful situation at work and then you get on your bike to de-stress, you're not actually de-stressing. In actual fact, you're heightening your physical stress levels way, way more than they were. So I'm like, well, shit. I mean, this stuff is important to me. I want to be able to do that. So the best time to go out and stress your body like that is actually the morning. It's not the evening, you know, it's actually the morning. But coming home and then jumping on and doing that is crazy. Really, you should be coming home, doing some light exercise if you can, making sure you're meditating, at least just capturing your breath to slow your stress levels down, and really managing stress now is my main focus at the moment. How do I manage stress? Because I think, you know, I fucking love stress. Do you know what I mean? I love who I am when I'm in that.
Well, you love going, you love moving, you like doing things and being occupied.
Yeah, and being up on stage and fucking like in work, in business, and doing that sort of stuff. If I sit at home, like I'm like climbing the walls. And Ange said to me, we had a big argument last week. She said to me, Mitch, when you're home, you're in the garden. Like you're not home. You know, you need to be home. You need to spend some time with us. And she's right. You know, she was 100% right. That
and she's always right about stuff like that.
Yeah. But I'm not going to say she's not, am I?
No, you're not.
But that has been a big thing, is managing those stress levels and making sure that I'm on top of that. You know, what about you?
I think for me, it was really I think for me, what I've realised is that I have to do what feels right in the time. And I think that what generally feels right for me is because I was doing everything. I think I was a bit like you at some point. I was doing a lot. And that was partly to do with 75 Hard when I was doing that. And I was like doing a lot of stuff, which was good. It was absolutely really, really good while it lasted. But what I realised was that I was pushing myself every single day instead of taking it easy some days. So just going for walk. I love going for my walks in the morning. I love it, love it, love it, love it.
Do you go every morning?
I haven't been as much in wintertime, not because I'm not what I am, but if I have to start early, I don't really want to go in the dark. So because I'm, you know, walking around where I am. But other than that, every morning, most mornings I go for a walk. So even in winter I'll go for a walk, but I'm just not, if I have to start really early, I'm not doing it early in the mornings. But whereas in summertime it's beautiful, that's perfect time to go. So the mornings with the walking and then mixing the rest of it up. Like I felt like before I had to do something really strenuous every day, I think, and that wasn't working. So I like to do my weights 3 times per week, Pilates if I can, and I haven't been able to do any of the hip hop or the dancing and stuff, but stuff that's fun and that you don't realise that you're exercising to me is really good. But then, like I said to you, the water in the last couple of weeks, I've really noticed how going from how dehydrated I must have been before I was drinking all that water every day. Because I've really noticed the difference it makes when I'm not drinking the water. And just also finding time. I said it to you this morning. It's time now. I need to find some time just to zone out a little bit because I feel like I've been on the go all of the time and I really need to replenish, you know. And I feel like if I don't do that, that really affects me, and I've noticed that it affects me more. Do you know when I noticed that was because remember before COVID, we were like every weekend there was something happening. And if it wasn't not every weekend, we'd have 2 to 3 seminars a month. Flying to Melbourne, flying back, doing this, jumping into this, and we've just had a month and a bit of that. And I realised that it wasn't as easy on me as it had been a couple of years ago, you know. So I realised that it's not that there's a problem with doing it, it's that there has to be some more system and routine around it, and just learning a little bit about how to manage that a bit for ourselves. I think that's the difference with getting older, and you just have to know what works for you.
Yeah.
And you've got to be able to stick
But
to a plan
you have to keep
do
doing
it.
stuff. Yeah,
Exactly.
you have to keep doing
and
stuff.
having the consistency. So if there's no consistency, that's where
Yeah.
I feel like it matters the most.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
And I think that because at the end of the day, we're only as old as we end up feeling for ourselves. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not like whatever's like, it's not about, I don't know, for me it's not about whether I'm like live or die health. You know, it is about that.
Yeah.
But life, we don't know what life is going to throw at
Yeah.
us. Do you know what I mean? So for me it's about just doing the very best you can with what you've got in
Yeah.
this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you don't know, like you said, you're going to be more incapacitated. And I don't think about exercising as I have to do it. I think I get to do it. Like I'm thrilled that I get to get up
Yeah,
in the morning.
yeah.
And I love where I live, so I love getting up and being able to do that. You know, I love getting up and being able to. I feel like it's a privilege, and I like to honour myself because I can see how it is for people in my circles that are older and that are now struggling more, you know.
Yeah.
And I know that in 30 years' time, 40 years' time, that might be me, but I get to choose every day how I want to show up, you know. So I don't know. That's how it is.
Yes, there you go. That's
There
our
you
advice
go.
on getting older.
There you go. Do you feel like an old fart because you got young kids?
Yeah. Yeah, they tell me all the time, you're not old, Dad.
Do they?
Yeah.
That's so cute.
You're not old, Dad.
That's so cute.
But you are the greyest person.
you are the
of all the
greatest. I was
fathers.
looking at you at Auskick,
I know, yeah.
and you're like the greyest person there.
I know.
But you were really good with them, and
Yeah,
they love that.
I love hanging
love
out with the
that.
kids. I
It's
love
so
kicking
cool.
footy, mate.
Okay, well, you don't know how to kick a footy. Let's not go that far. But you
I
were
do,
really
mate.
helpful.
I do. Yes. All right.
All right. See ya.
Bye. If you found this information inspiring, make sure you subscribe and tune in to the next Dorothy and the Dealer podcast.